Hi, and welcome to week 3 of Psychosocial Aspects of Sport. This week we are looking at sports and politics, which I will talk more about in a minute. But first, I wanted to debrief about week 1 discussion questions. So, as you can see, I am 2 weeks behind debriefing on your discussion questions, and that's because when your discussion questions are due, the next week's content is already flipping over, so I don't have a chance to post in the next week's content without having read your discussion questions from the previous week first. So we just finished week 1. You just turned in your week 1 discussion questions. Week 2 content is already up and running. I'm currently preparing week 3 content, so this is where I have the opportunity to discuss your week 1 discussion questions. So let's talk about those. I asked 2 questions for your discussion questions in week 1, and the first one asked you to look at an article by Getz and Siegfried that looked at some of the effects of the success or not of college athletics teams on some admissions factors with the rest of the university. So specifically, it looked about the recruitment effects on things like how many applications they got, the diversity of applicants, the quality of applicants, and things like that. And I asked you to answer those questions specifically as Getz and Siegfried found and discussed in their article. So if you just kind of mentioned the factors, that wasn't really answering the question. I wanted you to look at what Getz and Siegfried actually found and give me that answer. And what they did find was that there was a boost, a short-term boost in applications. So when athletic teams did well, high-profile athletic teams too, things like football and basketball, a short-term boost in the number of applications, as well as in the size of the applicant pool, an increase in that. Although it didn't really affect the academic quality of the applicants, but they also described that it may draw more students from underrepresented groups. So, they kind of found some answers for us about those specific 4 questions related to college admissions, in the argument that athletics is kind of a front door, a front porch to a university often. That's kind of one of the values of college athletics, is that it acts as a front porch to the university. And then my second discussion question asked you to look at the concept of opportunity cost when we examine what the financial cost of college athletics is. And I asked you to find your own article that addressed some aspect of opportunity cost. And some of you found some pretty interesting articles. There were some articles that talked about how college athletics actually generates quite a bit of money for the university. And then on the other hand, how it actually kind of sucks away money from other academic missions, such as classrooms or teachers or things like that. So as it turns out, very few college athletics departments are in the black, as we say, which means that they are not in debt. Most are. There's about 20-something in Division I athletics right now. And the U of A, the University of Arkansas, is actually one of those that are in the black. The rest are in the red, meaning that they are in debt and they take money out of the rest of the university's funding. So, the U of A is very fortunate to be in the black and not to have any money taken away from academic or other kind of university mission-centric activities. So some of you talked about both sides of that. And then I did see a couple articles talking about how you looked at the opportunity cost of a student athlete taking away maybe a spot at the university for a non-athlete, and that's much more of a smaller scale than I think what we're talking about with general opportunity cost in kind of a financial sense. So anyway, I wanted you to look at 2 of those things, and I wanted you to debrief kind of what I was looking for with those questions. This week we're looking at sports and politics, and this is a pretty rich topic right now. We have a lot of political things going on that are affecting sports, whether they intend to or not. So, for example, I noticed that during the recent government shutdown that happened last weekend, which is now January 21st, 22nd, during that government shutdown, we also had the NFL playoffs that weekend, and armed service forces that were overseas were not able to watch them because the armed service stations we're shut down because of the federal government, and that's pretty unfair. So whether or not you think that sports and politics mix or should mix, they do, and that's just an example. Another example that I posted in your content this week is about how recent changes to the tax structure that have just passed through the House and Senate and will be taking effect are worrying a lot of athletic directors, college athletic directors, because it is taking away the tax deductible status of a significant portion of athletic donations. So, a lot of athletic departments get their funding through donations. Now those donations are no longer as tax deductible as they once were. University presidents and athletic directors are worried about that. So we'll see what the effect of that is. And I've included an audio clip from NPR in your content this week. This week, we have our first quiz, which is going to cover the first 3 weeks that we've looked at. And I have also posted your trend analysis assignment topics and dates. So somebody is due this week. I haven't made them as of the time I'm making this video, but I will post those. And that is due at the end of the week on Sunday night with your quiz. So remember, with the trend analysis, I am looking for a very specific and recent occurrence that is part of that larger trend. So the trend is, this week is sports and politics. What I don't want you to do for this assignment is give me a synopsis of the relationship of sports and politics. That's my job. That's what I've done through the content. What I want you to do is present a very specific and recent occurrence. And an example, I've just given you 2 examples with the armed forces not being able to watch the NFL playoffs, or the college sports donations not being tax deductible anymore. Those are 2 very specific examples that I want to learn more about and that I want you to delve into and teach the class more about. Those are really interesting current events that fall into the sports and politics relationship that is always changing and presenting current issues and problems. So I want you to illustrate a current issue or problem that is part of this more general topic. So, that all being said, have a great week, and I hope you're enjoying the class so far. I hope you're having a good semester. I'll talk to you soon.